not only honor me, but you honor the hundreds and thousands of people with whom I have worked and with whom I have been associated in the struggle for racial justice. And so I say thanks, not only for myself, but I also thank you for them. And I can assure you that this day will remain dear to me as long as the chords of memory shall lengthen. There are three urgent and indeed great problems that we face all over the world today. That is the problem of racism, the problem of poverty, and the problem of war. And the things that I have been trying to do in our struggle and the struggle that is taking place all over the world has been to deal forthrightly and in depth with these great and grave problems that pervade our world. As you well know, racism is a reality in many sections of our world today. Racism is still the colored man's burden and the white man's shame. And the world will never rise to its full moral or political or even social maturity until racism is totally eradicated. Racism is exactly what it says. It is a myth of the inferior race. It is the notion that a particular race is worthless and degraded innately. It is the tragic idea that the very being of a people is inferior. Well, it may be true that morality cannot be legislated, but behavior can be regulated. It may be true that the law cannot change the heart, but it can restrain the heartless. It may be true that the law cannot make a man love me, but it can restrain him from killing me. And I think that is pretty important also. And while the law may not be able to change the hearts of men, it does change the habits of men. And through changes in habits, attitudinal changes take place. And then even the heart may be changed in the process. And so that is a challenge, and a great one for all men of goodwill, to work passionately and unrelentingly to get rid of racial injustice, whether it exists in the United States of America, whether it exists in England, or whether it exists in South Africa. Wherever racism is alive, it must be defeated. And somewhere along the way in this sometimes sick and often terribly schizophrenic world, we have got to come to see that the destinies of white and colored persons is tied together. In a real sense, we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. And finally, there can be no separate black path to power and fulfillment that does not intersect white roots. And there can be no separate white path to power and fulfillment short of social disaster that does not recognize the necessity of sharing that power with colored aspirations for freedom and human dignity. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation and of all nations of the world into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood, and speed up the day when all over the world justice will roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream.
Forget the steps.